everyone. Before we begin, I want to let you know that this podcast is for informational and inspirational purposes only. The advice and insights shared here are based on my personal experiences and expertise, but they are not a substitute for professional, medical, psychological, or business advice. If you are dealing with a specific issue, please consult a qualified expert. And thanks for watching. Hi, and welcome to Hope, Healing, and Transformation. I'm Lisa Williams, your spiritual wellness guide, psychic medium, and teacher. And this is the place where intuition meets empowerment, where healing begins, and where we embrace the journey of self-discovery through deep conversations, spiritual insights, and practical tools. I help you reconnect with your inner wisdom, navigate life's transitions, and step into your highest potential. Whether you're seeking guidance, transformation, or simply a space to feel seen and supported, you're in the right place. And on today's show, I am super excited because this person is a dear friend of mine. She's going to be a regular guest on the show. Her name is Karen Romine. She is an intuitive business strategist and psychic medium. I adore her. She's my personal friend, and I cannot wait for you to meet her. So Karen, welcome.
Thank you. So excited to be here. So fun to play.
It is a play. Now, you and I have known each other. How long? I'll let you do that.
I just associate it with COVID. So it was just before COVID because you were speaking at an event and I saw you and I said, she's my person. I was looking to dig in deeper and figure out this ability and learn the tips and tricks. And I saw you and I showed up for everything since then.
To the point that she showed up for everything. Let me explain this. There was one day that she didn't turn up on class, and I actually called her and I said, Karen, are you okay? You didn't turn up today.
And I said, it's the one thing I did not sign up for. And that is probably true. That is probably the one and only. I don't even remember what it was.
I can't even remember now. I really can't. But it was interesting because you have signed up for everything. You are a certified master teacher through my school. You're a psychic medium. You're a psychic investigator as well. And it's crazy how we had this connection. And now you're one of my trusted confidants in my world, in my inner circle. And, it's amazing. So thank you so much for being part of this show. It's going to be so good. So tell everybody your history. Tell everybody how you got started, because I feel like everybody needs to know the real Karen Romine, the Karen Romine that many people have seen before you hit the psychic world, because you have done so much and with so many different people.
I have had a very interesting background, and sometimes it amazes me at times. I started off in corporate America. There was no psychic medium at Iowa State on the curriculum. So I went towards business, and I ended up in Houston during the crash of oil and gas. And people were at the bar drinking away their savings and doing their business deals. And I became fascinated with it. And I became very entrenched in the deal making because I was hearing them negotiate, watching how it happened. And then they were asking me what I thought. And I don't know, I didn't know where this was coming from, but I had thoughts and I had ideas. And through them, I started to find opportunities as consulting with, generally speaking, with startups or with businesses that were in some sort of distress. That could be bankruptcies or mergers, large acquisitions. So through my career, I've worked for a variety of businesses. And I've worked on over $485 million in acquisitions. I've worked on a turnaround of a Fortune 500 company. And I've worked for an internationally known record label. Most recently, we set up a company based out of Los Angeles to help think Airbnb for parking.
Right.
And so I still sit on the board for several businesses. I still do some consulting, but that's my pre-psychic mediumship work.
And so what you've gone into is you've now combined, and you and I have had many conversations. And in fact, just to let everyone know, Karen kept getting a hit that podcast. And she's like, Lisa, if I do a podcast, the only person I'm doing it with is you. And tag you're coming in with me. And so we started to thrash around a business because both of us are passionate about psychic mediums. Both of us are passionate about business, and both of us are passionate about healing. And so we started to try to work out how we were going to make this happen. But we kind of like, we sat one, in fact, it was over Thanksgiving. Our husbands, I'm just going to let you know, our husbands are the same people.
Mutt and Jeff.
Mutt and Jeff. That's right. They are Mutt and Jeff. And so we went to San Antonio. We stayed at Karen and Ron's house, and we let the boys drink and go to the gym while we holed up in your office. And we came up with this strategy of why women entrepreneurs, female high achieving women entrepreneurs mostly, struggle. And I feel like I would love, because I do think, and Karen, you may know this better than I, do you feel that more and more people are turning into running their own business, becoming more entrepreneurial?
100% right now. There's something shifting energetically. And I feel like it's been happening slowly since COVID, where people were terminated, businesses closed for a variety of reasons, significant things changed. And it gave us this alone time to actually think about what our passions are. What do we want to do? What fills our soul with things? So I definitely have seen a huge change, and particularly for women, where this wasn't really accepted before. This was something that the men could go do, but the women just weren't really in that space to be accepted when they're stepping out. So I do see a huge change.
And what do you think it was about the women all of a sudden them saying, right, I'm going to do this? Because I noticed it in my own readings where I'm like, oh, wow, you're going to be doing something with children, or you're going to be doing this, or you're going to be, and I've noticed that as well. What do you think it is with the women that have just said, it's no longer a man's world?
I believe at the same time that we're seeing this shift in business, we're also seeing a big shift in our psychic intuitive abilities.
Mm-hmm.
And it's becoming more and more accepted. And we're starting to listen to that inner voice. And I believe women do that better than anybody. I believe we're built to listen to that. And I think that inner voice is saying you're holding yourself back.
Right.
There's a thought around going to work and hating it. And so you punch in to emotionally check out. And when we put ourselves in timeout, and when we were released from that stress that we were under, and this is not for everybody, right? Corporate America is still thriving and women are really stepping up in significant ways. But I do believe that a lot of women, when we got put in timeout, and myself included, that's when I dropped out of corporate America, is we listened.
Right.
So I think it falls straight in line with our intuition starting to thrive more, and it's more accepted also.
Yeah. So there was and not many people know this, but there was a point that I brought Karen into my business. And that was actually a really, really tough time for me. Because Karen came in and she's like, I don't want to take over. I just want to see what is going wrong. And that was a big thing because I went, Karen, I don't know why this has happened and why this is happening. And I have no idea. And she came in and she told me some really uncomfortable things. Really uncomfortable things. And she was part of a very big situation that I was involved in. And there was, and I don't need to go into it and I don't want to go into it. But it was a very hard space to be in. You said at the time that you've been in many of those situations before, where you've had to be that support for women and support for business owners. Is that something you enjoy? What brought you to doing this and feeling? Because honestly, when you uncovered what you uncovered for me, I literally went, holy shit, I got to do something about this. How did you do it?
I believe that I did it by listening to my own inner voice that leads me down the rabbit trail. I do like a rabbit trail. I do like uncovering the things that slow women down. I want women to thrive and be seen and be excited to show up every day. So you can walk into any situation, me, anybody who's tuned into that inner voice, and just feel whether things are moving and we're running smoothly, or if there's something stagnant, an energy that just sits sometimes that's just stagnant. It doesn't need to be bad. It just is something that slows the system down and prevents us from really thriving. So in that, I think that from being around all of the classes, being with you through all of my certifications, that I could just feel that you energetically, when it came to your business, had shifted a little bit. And I wanted you to thrive and for everything to be great. Here we are. And I wanted to explore what that would look like for the two of us, exactly like the situation, to be able to step out and help other people by both acknowledging our own ups and downs and our own experiences and how important and significant the strategy, the details, everything are in business, and how important it is to listen to that voice.
And it was the listening. I really had to sit and listen to you. I had to hear you. And then we got through that hurdle and we got through another hurdle. And in fact, people were saying to me, how did you get through that? And I went, everyone needs a Karen Romine on their side. And I've said that so many times, to the point. I remember reading for you in my kitchen and I said, all I can see is me saying to everybody needs a Karen Romine. And it's so true. And now you've gone down in a whole rabbit hole of AI, which is again another reason, because I think, we talk a lot about AI and how AI is transforming our life, and we're going to talk a lot about AI. And we're going to be over the time that Karen and I are going to be on the podcast together, we're going to be covering topics of AI. We're going to be talking about spiritual leadership. We're going to be talking about how you connect deeper into the core of your business from a spiritual perspective. Because it's not just about getting to work and cramming as many hours as you can in and not having a life. It's about finding balance. And that's what we're really both passionate about. And so this segment is how we incorporate the spiritual aspects of it, how we recognize what is going on in your life, and how we can orchestrate that and bring it into your business, whether that is corporate America, whether that is the fact that you're working from home, you're starting a business, you're an entrepreneur, or you're just, you're young and you're like, I don't even know what I want to do. Or you may be 50 and go, I still do not know what I want to do. We want to help you in this segment to try and help you, because I do feel, as two women who are entrepreneurs, between us, we've made a lot of money, and we know the pitfalls, and we know the ups, and we know the downs. And I made a lot of money, I lost him a lot of money, I made a lot more, and I lost a lot more, and then I'm making more money. So it's like knowing how to navigate this and be able to feel validated and seen and empowered. And that's what our aim is.
I just love that. Yes, that is exactly right. And I personally believe that if we aren't experiencing all of those things, if we aren't having pitfalls, we aren't growing.
Yeah.
So it's learning and growing and experiencing and hearing our experiences, having your own experiences. Sometimes we see it happen to other people. We think it won't happen to me. So it's a journey, and it's a great journey of empowerment.
Right. So let's talk about businesses, and let's talk about what goes wrong in a business. Let's talk about what goes wrong in a business and why it goes wrong. So I'm just going to say, you've started moving, the ball is rolling, you started earning money's coming in. And then suddenly you hit this breaking point and you're like, oh, why isn't it working for me anymore? What is happening in that moment?
Talking about entrepreneurial or solopreneurial type businesses, not Fortune 500, I think the first breaking point is you start off by yourself. Everybody does. You conceive your idea. I think that you have to make sure that you are solid on your market. You have to niche down as narrow as you can. If you don't do that at the beginning and become very focused on what it is that your next steps are, you're going to be scattered. So nothing's going to hit. There won't be a solid track to follow. People are afraid to say, I only work with nurses with blue skin with a dog with 3 legs, because they think it's way too narrow and there's only 3 out there. But that is how you start to drive your message. I think that's the first place where things can go wrong. Sometimes we don't notice them there. We just stay in the struggle point, and then we accidentally get traction. So once we pick up on that traction, the next place where things go wrong is what happens when you need somebody, but you don't need somebody.
Can I just answer to this? Hold on, I don't want to cut you off.
Okay, go.
Not everybody realizes this, but this happened to me accidentally. When she's talking about the nurse with the blue skin and 3 legs and the dog, this actually happened to me accidentally because of the woman that I'm talking to right now. I had to put something on my website for a trademarking. And she found it. Do you remember it? You found it.
Gosh.
And you signed up. And niching is so important, because that one person finds it and suddenly other people find it. And that course earned me $300,000.
Yep.
So it's a very powerful thing to do. And I didn't want to do it.
You niched right into I want Karen Romine. And Karen Romine found that, and I was off and running. So yes, that is the example, a great
Okay.
example.
All right. Great example. Carry on.
Yep. Then I think that the next place really where it's a very critical breaking point is, do you grow? Do you commit? Sometimes we have to commit financially, and let's face it, time wise, and it can be very, very difficult. We have families. We're oftentimes in this age where we're balancing children and parents, and trying to take care of ourselves just goes by the wayside. We're working an extreme amount of hours. We're investing a little bit further than we had planned to extend. And finding the right person at the right time for that can be such a make or break. And my theory is that if you hire fast, that you should also not be afraid to fire fast. And I don't mean that in a negative way, but it's either connecting both for, if it's not connecting for you, it's not going to connect for them. So
Right.
I want everyone to thrive. I honestly do. And so what I would want to see is that if it's not, instead of investing more time into that person to help you, because this is such a critical step,
Yeah.
it needs to be your person. So I think starting up, those are the two biggest ones, niching, and then really that step of saying, I'm going to make this something. Now, when you get to that step and you hire that person, sometimes you have to reevaluate what your niche looks like.
Right. Right.
So your niche is constantly evolving. It's growing. You're fine tuning it. Sometimes you're just getting narrower and narrower. We had a conversation at the beginning of this today. Is my market women? It is. It's high achieving women. And but that does not mean that I don't love working with men. I really, really enjoy that aha moment when men learn how to listen to that voice and
Yeah.
take and go that next step. But it's a constantly evolving thing.
I think a lot of people might be listening to this and saying, okay, so what does this have to do with spirituality? Well, I think it's twofold here. One, I have, over the years, I have probably got 30,000 students that all follow me, that I've taught individually, and I've worked with them. And so there's a lot of psychic mediums, healers, wellness coaches, everything from yoga instructors to coaches to psychic mediums to healers to whoever it is. They're all sitting here going, why is my business not growing? And then there's also part of it where there might be people who are listening here who are coming for, maybe I want to transform my life because I've lost a loved one or I've got a health issue. But now I'm starting to see a correlation with spirituality. And I do feel that there is a deep sense of needing some form of spiritual connection to yourself and to your business, because people forget that your business has an energy and that you actually need to sit and speak. I just did it recently when I went down to California, and I sat with somebody who I've been doing business with for for quite some time. And I'd never seen the product. And I sat with the product, and he said, Lisa, there's a problem. Where are we going? And I went, well, let me sit with the actual thing and see where it wants to go. So you're talking about niching, and the business has an energy, and we forget to speak to the energy of the business.
This is why I just love to talk to you. Yes, I absolutely agree. And what I would add to that is that our life is a business.
Right.
So we might have a job that involves some sort of income or whatever it is that we're doing there. But our life needs to be, we need to niche in on what our passion is, on what our focus is, on what it is we really want to accomplish, which I might add, this is a total detour, but I think today is my abundance portal.
Oh, we like this.
So I've been very focused. Look, at a personal level, I've been very focused on on manifesting my abundance at a personal and at a professional level. But it's exactly what you just said. You know, you're here because you have some sort of interest in the spiritual space, right? You're Lisa Williams, and the master of all when it comes to the spiritual space. So you might be coming here because you want to get a reading from Lisa, because things aren't square in your life. Maybe they aren't square in your personal life, maybe not in your professional life, but everything that we talk about when it comes to business can be easily applied to your life. And it also means reflecting back and listening to yourself, which is very much a part of the spiritual space, hearing that inner voice. The other side of it is that you might be a psychic medium or a psychic investigator or whatever it is that you do that is looking to expand, build, start your business. And oftentimes I find that when people come into this space that they don't have the business background.
Mm-hmm.
Or like me, I didn't have this knowledge, I had the spiritual background. I just didn't have control of the spiritual background. That's a little wild in there. And so I think that when you come and you hear us talk about our stuff, you said it perfectly. I mean, it's about combining both sides.
Right. You know, I just want, because somebody's going to ask, what is the abundance portal?
Well, I don't really know, but apparently, my planets are all aligned. Now, we have plenty of people that I rely on for planet alignment information. And allegedly, my planets are all coming into alignment. And today is the day I get sucked through the hole. And I'm supposed to be very clear on what abundance looks like for me. And I'm going to just step back into business and the abundance portal. I don't know if the abundance portal is the same for everybody or not, but I say it is.
Okay.
So I say in business and in personal life that this is about manifestation.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe we are all going through the abundance portal whenever we hear this, whether it's 2 years down the road or today. And that you should clearly define in your mind what abundance looks like, both in your business and your personal life. And then I think you should all talk to Lisa about doing a vision statement.
Oh, yeah.
and learning to live and thrive in what that looks like.
Yeah, that's actually a very powerful thing. That's one of the things that I do with clients is the vision statement. I do a lot with clients and clients who come to me. So everyone has to realize that I don't just do readings. I do a lot of coaching and I do a lot of help in the spiritual wellness space. So if somebody has health issues, and I've talked on my show about a woman in Norway, Turin, who had pancreatic cancer, and she will absolutely say to you, it is because of your vision statement. And you know Turin, don't you? Yeah. And she will say it's actually because of your Turin statement, your vision statement that I am still alive. And it is a statement that we listen to on a subconscious level, and we continually listen to it. And she listened to it probably, and you listen to it 3 times in one sitting, and you allow that vision to become reality. And I also did one for you as well.
Yes.
And it was, I think the vision statements are so powerful. And this is what we do with our clients who come to us and say, hey, we are at a standstill in my business. How are we allowing ourselves to move forward? And so I've niched down. Two, I've found the right people. And then it is now let's find the block that is holding you back. And often it is that little mindset of nee, 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 nee. Go ahead. I can see the brain turning.
This is where everything changes.
It does. It shifts.
Everything changes. We get so focused on our business that we forget about ourselves.
100%. Oh, hold on, Karen Romine, didn't you do that?
Maybe.
Okay, just saying.
Wait, maybe I've done it on more than one occasion. I tend to learn lessons the hard way.
Yes.
But it is where everything changes. We can't lose track. People think, oh, my business is struggling, and they're convinced it's just the business when indeed it's something that's going on with themselves. That's why when you put the two of us together to come in to work on a business, if people perceive that we're just solely working on the numbers or the strategy or the next launch or what that looks like in a business perspective, but at the same time, we're energetically aligning the business, like you said. But if you are not in energetic alignment, it is not going to work if you're running the business. They
Right.
are tied together.
Right. They really are tied together. And this is what we've discussed many, many times is that, you are struggling. And so, listen, I'm going to say to you guys, if you feel like you are struggling in your business and if you feel like you've hit that stopping point, you don't know where to go, let us know. Put a comment wherever you're watching this. We'll find the comment and we'll address it on the next podcast that Karen and I do together. Because I feel like there are so many people in this world, in this space that actually need help. And we want to help you get into the core element. But the thing is, and I'll talk from my point of view, when I was struggling and it was my self-worth and I had lost, all of this money, I'd gone through a horrendous divorce, 2 horrendous relationships, yada, 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 yada. And I said, there's no price on freedom. So therefore, I to allow myself to be free of an emotional space, I gave my money away. And so my mindset was to be free, I have to give. And that's what came about. And I had to realize that, wow, that energy in my business is not necessarily serving me. And so then I had to do some of my own work that I didn't like to do. And I had to look at where it was in my life that actually had caused me the problems. And then I started going back into my thyroid of losing my empowerment. I started to look at the fact I had a hysterectomy at 32 and what that was response. And the fact that I had constantly always given away my power and I was not empowering. I was empowering everybody else, but it was not empowering me. And so then I started to create, and Karen spoke about it, I started to create my team and my team of people, which meant firing someone who had been in my team for 12 years. And it was a very hard place to be. And not for any reason, I'm not getting into the story of it, but I had to then pull my cards really close to my chest. And I think it took me almost a year for me to find another person. I went through one after the next, and she's right. I had to fire as quickly as I hired. And then the heavens opened and the angels sang and I did this event. And Karen and I was like, and I did this event. And there presented to me was my new assistant, who I'm going to tell you is a dream. But boy, did I have to wait for them. And it was
And
hard.
yeah, it's just like I said, it's that step. Like when that person shows up and you know it, it requires sometimes that we're stretching into our uncomfortable zone. And when we're doing that, we're growing. And I think that that's significant and important also. So, they say that the good Lord only gives you what it is you can deal with. And I think that we put out where it is energetically that we are and what it is we're ready for. And honestly, from my observation, I don't think you were ready to release yet. I think you were still in a trying to make sure everything was, you understood, you had regained your control, you had now stepped back into full ownership of everything. And I think you needed to really feel that in order to be able to healthily, I don't think that's a word, allow someone in the space with you.
Yeah.
So your energy shifted, your healing is in process. And
Mhm.
at that time, energetically, both you and the business shifted and she came in. So
Right.
it runs together, it overlaps. Sometimes it runs this way. But for the most part,
I want to ask this question, which I found personally in my own world, I found very difficult, especially when I was working. And I find this a lot with in my clients where people say to me, my business is fine, but my relationships suck. Or my relationships are fine and my business sucks. Where in this energetic space, I mean, you've been married to Ron for, many, many moons, many, many years, good, bad, or indifferent. I've been married to Chris I've known him now 10 years. I've been married to him for 6. We've always had our ups and downs. It happens. And successfully, my business is successful. I can't look at it as not being a success. Your business is successful in its own right. Is there a correlation between when our business sucks, our relationships are thriving, and when our relationship sucks, our business is thriving? What's the correlation of that?
it is the energetic being of both the business and the person. My husband is retired military and then became a pilot for a commercial airline. And my business was stagnant. And
Mm-hmm.
he came home and said, I am getting furloughed. This was at 9/11. I didn't even know what furloughed meant. I was like, what exactly is furloughed? He said, well, that means I'm not going to be going to work. And I said, for exactly how many days?
Right.
Because we lived 2 separate lives. He was gone in the Navy, for United, like he was used to being gone. So he's not used to being home. And then when we're married, when we're in our relationship together, he's gone for a week and then he comes home for a day or 2. So all I can think is, oh my God, my business is already stagnant and now he's going to be home every day. Now I know that might sound unusual to people who are happily married up there, but that's just how
That's me.
our marriage works.
Mine too.
So I just said, whatever's going to happen is what's going to happen. That's how it's going to be. Some situations took place. His dad became very ill and he needed to go and stay with him and be with him and help him to recover, which he did. But what it did was it opened this space for me to not have to worry. I could eat peas for dinner. I didn't have to do anything. All I had to do was just figure out why my business wasn't working. Why were things stagnant? What was going on? So instead of walking into something that I thought would be horrible at both ends, the universe provided energetically, knew exactly what it was that I needed, exactly what it was that he needed. And we stepped through that. So, he's, as he says, failed at retirement several times. He's gone in, the commercial airlines makes you retire at a certain age. So he's tried different things to see. He's currently golfing. So that's his new job. But it's so as he's bounced through his working, retiring, and our relationship has kind of gone like this. He's home, he's gone, he's home, he's gone. Comes up in the morning with his coffee, and I'm up here working, and he's like, "So what are we gonna do today?" And I'm like, "So we aren't gonna do anything today. You're gonna go back downstairs." So so I watch this ebb and flow with our relationship all the time. And at the same time, because of the size of my business, I can just track what's happening when I'm feeling stressed or pressure. I have to stop and recenter. I meditate every day.
Right.
Every single day. It's a huge part of my spiritual life, but also my business life. I feel that whenever I am meditating, that somehow it does all of my filing for me. It puts everything in the folders wherever it needs to be, whether I'm thinking about it or not. And then it helps me to move forward. So do I think that there's a correlation between relationships and work? 100%. I've watched people at Fortune 500 companies that are running the company that have gone through a huge divorce and had a lot of messy stuff hanging around. And I can watch the tracking of the numbers go down for the whole company, for thousands of employees there, because the energy at the top just got tilted a little bit. So that brings me back again to talking about what you and I have always said. If you as a whole, you as a human, you as a person are not taken care of, then it is very, very hard to keep this business in line.
Right. I think the biggest takeaway in this episode, first of all, I wanted to introduce everyone to Karen Romine. She will be a regular guest, and we want to hear about you. We want to help you with your business, and more importantly, the spiritual connection, because there might be something that is deep-seated and wounded at the age of 4 that you still haven't healed, that is now infiltrating, filtering down from the top of your business, and it's like coming through. But I think the main takeaway here is that your business has an energy, and if your energy is wavering, your business energy wavers, and that you have to be connected deep to your business. It's not about just earning money. It's about, what is the message? What does it serve? How does that business serve you more than financial? Because it's not about running the finances. It's about how it serves you on a much more deeper and core level.
I agree. It's almost like you're psychic. I just said to Ron last night, no joke. I just said this to Ron last night. I said, if we had $1 billion, like, money is no object, what are the first 3 things that you want to do? Because I'm in my abundance portal, I need to make sure that abundance isn't just a dollar figure, but that it's also like encompassing of, and his energy. Remember, when you have somebody else in the house, you're also like their energy. So I'm trying to make sure that energetically I'm keeping him aligned, I'm keeping me aligned, and I'm keeping my business aligned.
Right. I think it's very, very important. So we want you to submit your questions.
Yep.
Submit your questions to us. You can go to support@missionsage.com. All right. So that is support@missionsage.com. Or you can write your question in below where the podcast is, wherever you're actually reading it from or watching it from or listening from, not reading. And we'd love to answer your question. In fact, we would love to even have you on the show. We would love you to even come in and dive deep. And maybe if you are a business owner, an entrepreneur, a psychic medium who's struggling, somebody who wants to set up your business, we want to help you get to the bottom of what is the issue. And as I said, it could be something that you are trying to resolve when you're 4 years old that is still really are trickling through into everything and is causing you to have whatever. Or it could be something very, very simple that Karen, because she's so amazing what she does, goes, boop, that's what it is. So we would love to hear that. Karen, do you have any parting words for everyone?
Send us your questions. That's what we're here for. We're on a mission to help you thrive.
Yes, we are. And I want to say thank you for listening. And we can't wait to help you in whatever it may be, whether it is helping you heal, whether it is finding an answer from a loved one, whether it is trying to give you inspiration to help and hope to live your life. Or if you have a business question, please let us know. We are here. And so until next time, I'll see you very soon. Thank you so much for joining me today. And remember, the information shared on this podcast is meant to inspire and support you, but it's not a replacement for personalized advice from a qualified professional. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with someone who might benefit. And don't forget to tune in next time. Until then, take care and keep believing in something better.